Tell us about Appleton, Iowa, where you came from, and how growing up there helped to get you started.
I don't know how I'm going to expand on it. We don't have a stoplight. We have a Casey's, a church, 3 bars, and a school. You know, so that's it's a town of 1,000 people. I grew up on the farm, a very small kid. There's 32 kids in my high school class until we consolidated and we became like a city. We had 68 kids in our class. So, but it's I love my upbringing. I loved being a part of a small town, growing up in a farming community, a community just like this. You know, for where a lot of you people came from as well tonight. Where you understand neighbors, you understand what it means to work hard, you understand what it means to be a good person, and that's kind of my upbringing, and that's what I've tried to carry, not only as a basketball coach, but as a family man and community member, and so excited to be a part of that and share some of that with you as we all get to know each other on a more personal level.
The good folks here tonight, Coach, would like to know what to expect from the Darian DeVries Indiana basketball team.
Yeah, man, I would love for all of you to be in the arena, on game night and leave going like, that is the hardest damn playing team I've ever seen. And that's what I want our team to look like. I want it to feel like. I want it to look like they're out there, they're enjoying it, they're having fun, they're playing as hard as they can, and they're not going to be perfect. Like we're gonna lose a game every now and then. We're going to try to make it as few as possible, but I want the identity to be the same every night. I want you to leave, win, lose, draw. I want you to leave that arena proud of the effort that they put forth every night, and then hopefully those wins come more and more and more and more as we go along. But I think it'll be something that this staff is going to work incredibly hard to try to make you proud of the product that we put out there.
Coach, what about the roster right now? How does it look to you?
I think it looks great. It's on paper right now. I'll tell you on Monday morning, 8 o'clock is what we've all been waiting for. Everybody comes in this weekend, so Monday at 8 o'clock is our first workout, and I cannot wait to get a whistle back in my hands again, because this is all fun. I love putting the roster together, recruiting, all this stuff, but this is, we're getting the gym. That's where we all kind of get excited. We've been meeting all week about, hey, these guys go from like almost ghosts out there to like now they're real people in our gym, and we get to go have some fun for the summer.
Your philosophy about the kind of recruits that you got, tell us a little bit about that, because that's the one thing when I listened to you talk in that opening press conference that really impressed me.
Yeah, I hope what we have is a bunch of guys that are all about the right things. In this day and age, especially with the NIL and everything, I'm all for kids making money and doing what it is. We're going to adapt with the times, and we're going to try to be as modern as we can in this new era of college athletics. But I want to make sure that they're still coming here because they want to be a part of Indiana. They want to be a part of our community. They want to be a part of a team that's about the right things. They're unselfish. They're going to play hard. They're going to share the ball. Those are all things that are incredibly important to our staff. As we've gone out, we will pass on people that are, their first questions are like, all about the money. Because if it's all about the money, then that's what they're going to be when they're out on the playing floor. They're going to become a little bit selfish. Their motives are going to be a little bit different. We want guys that are self-motivated to be successful, not only for themselves, but for our team and our program. And then we look for all the other little things that, from a basketball standpoint, IQ, can they play together? We love to recruit skill. We love shooting. We love spacing. So those are all things that are important to me. They're good teammates. And I just think when you put a whole group of guys in a locker room that have those similar type of characteristics, you're going to win. Your team is going to find a way to win, and that's what we prioritize throughout this whole process that we put this team together.
And have you got the roster complete at this point or not?
And we can still add a couple. We're waiting on a couple waivers yet from some guys from last year, so we're holding on to a couple for right now until that process can get as close to finalized, hopefully in a positive way for us. If not, we could always add another guy or two. But right now we have 13 scholarship players and 2 walk-ons currently on the team. There might be a few coaches that are going to have to jump out there once in a while. I'm not one of them. That's why we're this shirt. These are the candidates right here. So But yeah, that's what we got right now today, and like I said, I cannot wait to get everybody in the gym and get started with this process on Monday.
If you hadn't pursued a career in college basketball, what other profession might you be in?
I want to be Coach Sig. That's what I want to be Coach Sig. Oh, that would be so fun. I don't want to be a football coach. Actually, I don't know if I want to be a head coach. I want to be a linebackers coach, I think. Yeah. I couldn't be a linebackers coach, so I graduated high school. It's like 6'2", 165. There's not many linebackers at that size and weight. Are there any linebackers 6'2", 165?
Coach said only walk-ons. You can't have those anymore. All right, we're going to talk to these assistant coaches here and introduce them to you. Our first is Rod Clark, just came from Tennessee, coached with Rick Barnes at Tennessee, and Indiana beat them last year in an exhibition game. Did you know that, Rod?
Caught a lot of flack for that.
Rod, you were a big part of some very big successes during your career at Tennessee. Why was the opportunity, this one that you couldn't turn down?
Well, first, God has blessed me with a lot of really good opportunities. This being one that's probably at the top of the list. Being from the Midwest, it was really important for me. From a family perspective, I really wanted to get back this way. Me being from Kansas City, it's not a crazy long drive to get there. It's not hard for my mom to come up to see her grandkids and my siblings. But at the same time, like growing up in Kansas City, the biggest programs in the Midwest, and obviously Indiana's a huge name. Like Coach said, it's one of the biggest brands in all of college sports. And obviously, seeing this, it's unreal. You guys support here. I think, last year we played Indiana exhibition. It was a lot of Indiana fans there. And funny enough, I went out with a friend after the game to go have dinner, and I sat with 2 Indiana fans the entire time. And you know what? They actually were really nice. They were really nice. And I think it's because they beat us. Exactly. It's because they beat us. I don't know how it would have been if not. But just hearing the passion in their conversation, how much they love Hoosier sports, Hoosier basketball. It honestly I thought about it when I decided to come here, and it made me kind of understand what it really meant to be here. And then, when Coach DeVries reached out to me, I've been knowing him for some time, turned him down one time, but I was extremely happy that he presented the opportunity to be in my family and to be with his staff. I played against Dick Norton in high school. A lot of people didn't know that.
You only brought that up because you won.
Exactly. That's exactly why. I love bragging rights. Played against, Coach Bargin was the head coach at Butler Community College, and I was a player at Neosho County. I think we won that game too, and if we didn't, I don't care. But yeah, just having the opportunity to come here was honestly really special to me and my family, and I was extremely excited.
We're excited to have you, Rod. All right, next guy has already been in Indiana for a couple of years. His name is Kenny Johnson. And Kenny, of course, was back at IU for the first time in several years. He was an assistant under Tom Crean back in the day. And it's been more than a decade since you were at IU, Kenny, so things have changed a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the change of the sport of basketball since you were at Indiana the last time.
First off, thank you for welcoming me back. I will tell you, my first time here, it was my second year of coaching college basketball, and Indiana has completely ruined any other experience for me. I got a lot of flack for every job I was at, and I talked about the experience in Indiana. They tried to tell me, oh, well, we get this fan support here, we got this fan support there. We played the Madison Square Garden, no, we're gonna have more fans. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't know what loud is until you get to Assembly Hall. So, it's a truly an honor to coach at Indiana. It really is, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The sport has changed. I mean, besides the obvious, with the NIL payments and the the transfer portal just kicking off each year. I think in general, the pace of the game has improved, the spacing, the emphasis maybe a little bit more on the perimeter, three-point shooting, the analytics of the game. I think that part has changed. You know, you could look at some instances where the high school kids or just the players in college basketball in general may not have as much pride, you know, overall, nationally. But when you think about Indiana basketball, you look around the room and, you know, like Coach said, you can make a phone call. The name Indiana still rings strong nationally from the player ranked number 1 through 1,000. They understand what Indiana basketball is. So that part really hasn't changed as far as the pride that you'll have to be a part of the Indiana basketball program. You know, in general, you know, there's a lot of different ways to win games. I think because of the transfer portal, you may not see the one program dominate the game year after year after year. Certain teams can kind of pop up. You know, maybe teams that haven't been in the tournament last year, and they can go on to win a national championship.
Yeah, bring that up, Kenny.
Next year, right? But, you know, overall, though, I don't feel like there's that many changes. I mean, especially here in Indiana. I mean, the expectation the first time I was here was to be a very successful program and to make a deep tournament run, and I think that's what we have currently here as well, right? Yeah.
Okay, one other thing we wanted to ask you about, can you talk about the high school recruiting, how important that is at this point, especially here in Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, high school basketball recruiting, I know everyone thinks about the transfer portal and they see how there isn't a lot of retention from year to year. As big as recruiting is, I think retention is just as important, you know, nowadays. But especially for us in our program, and talking to Coach DeVries, high school basketball recruiting is still going to be the foundation of what we do. You know, I don't think there are any shortcuts to sustainable success. So you can recruit in the portal and you can have a good team, right? But you may not necessarily have a good program. I think the development, the recruiting of the good players, and the development of the players, the retention of those players, you know, is still what's going to allow you to have a great program. Like the culture of your program, the foundation that you lay within those players. Like we're going to get started Monday, and we're going to pour our blood, sweat, and tears of these guys for the next 9 months. You know, and just try to maximize out who we can be as a team. And the guys that we bring in the following year are going to be those, you know, kind of continue on with the foundation that we laid this year. So high school recruiting is always going to be a big part of what we do. It's something that we value, something that we believe in, something that we spend a lot of time in. You know, and then if you think about just the relationship piece to recruiting, like I can recruit a guy out the portal and I have maybe 2 phone calls, and then I try to invite them to campus, and then we're like, so what do you think? You know, and that's you know, you have to do your work on the front end, almost like trying to get the background information, but you have a matter of weeks, if not days, to make a decision on the player that you bring into the program. High school basketball recruiting is something, especially in a great place like Indiana, those relationships can be started for 3-4 years. You know what the name of their goldfish is. You know, at the end of the day, you know, when you make your bed, you know, you take the trash out when your parents actually take the trash out. You have a long-standing relationship, so you have a better chance to really, you know, understand who they are and make sure they have a pride in what you're doing even before they ever enter your program.
I got one little quick story on Kenny. So he comes on the campus. We have a framed picture in the office from his first time around, and it's him holding up, you know, a guy's getting ready to shoot a 3, and he's standing there. So we put it in his office for him. I mean, it's certainly the younger version of Kenny, but it looks just like him. We just had to fill in a little bit of color on the sides. Yeah, so
You got that beard treatment, you know?
yeah.
That's the name change. Yeah, change it. That's the change.
Our next coach is Dick Norton. And Dick, welcome to Indiana.
Thank you.
Tell us. You know Coach DeVries as well as anybody on the staff, and probably better than most. Tell us a little bit about him and what motivates him and what drives him on the basketball court.
Be careful.
Yeah, I can say a lot about Coach. He's a lefty, pretty good at ping pong, 12 handicap on the course, and push mows his lawn no matter how big the lawn is. So. But no, at the end of the day, Coach is the ultimate competitor. He's here for a reason, and his track record speaks for itself. But I think what motivates him on the court, you can tell his passion for the game. In this short instance, you can just feel it in his voice, how much he cares about basketball. And he's a damn good basketball coach. I was fortunate enough to play for him and now work with him. And I think everything starts from him. Anytime there's a task at hand, he's the first one to roll up his sleeves and say, let's go. And everybody just gets behind him.
All right, you always know that coaching was what you wanted to do. When and why did you decide this is the path you wanted to pursue?
So my dad, somebody who I really look up to, he's going into year 43 of coaching, 23 at the college level. So I was birthed into it. And then, when my playing career was over as mid-season, I got let go after a knee injury and called up Coach. And Coach was, hey, we're in Atlanta, why don't you just join the team in December? And so I joined the team and haven't looked back since.
Awesome. Nick, welcome to Indiana.
Thank you.
All right. This guy's face is probably somewhat familiar to a lot of people who've been recruited in the state of Indiana. And I would say this about Drew. He's a Bloomington guy. He came from Bloomington. His dad's Mark, and his dad coached AAU basketball forever, and that's where you got started in this business. But tell us about recruiting the state, as long as you've been able to do that. Tell us a little bit about the state of Indiana and what you're looking for in players.
Well, I think the first thing you got to talk about when you talk about recruiting the state is the high school coaches, the AAU coaches. They have to feel a part of the program. It's got to mean something to them. We got to spend time at it to build a relationship, have them here, and just spend time face to face, so they know it's a genuine relationship. People from Indiana, people from the Midwest, they know what's genuine, they know what's not.
Closer?
Yeah.
Awkward.
Why?
But from the Midwest, let me tell you, we enjoy a good laugh, but we know genuine, and we know when someone just is talking to us because they want something, or when they're invested in us. And the people of the state, the AAU coaches, the high school coaches, fans, everyone's got to feel like they're a part of this program, they're welcome there. And we have to have their support. There's obviously been a lot of really good players from Indiana come through here and be part of really good teams. But you got to get the right ones too. They're tough, like Coach said, that buy into the program, that buy into the locker room, that fit the system. And as important as anything, they're talented. So, all that stuff goes into it, in my opinion.
Drew, have you reached out to a lot of the high school coaches you had connections with here?
Yeah, I think our whole staff, yes, I have, but Coach DeVries has, the staff has. We've reached out to coaches a lot of coaches in the state, not just coaches that have players now, coaches that could ever have players that coach high school. We invite them to team camp, we invite them to practice, we invite them to be up here. We've gone to see all the AAU teams in the state already, or we're allowed. So then we'll just keep working those relationships and making sure they feel a part of it.
Obviously, at Indiana right now, you've got nothing but one high school player on that roster. But recruiting the state's pretty important, is it not?
Yes, and obviously the timing of the job. Coach and Kenny both talked about it too. Recruiting high school kids, recruiting the right Indiana kids, the right high school kids in general is always going to be very important because, like Kenny said, Coach Johnson said, retention is a very, very important part of your job. You got to be retaining good players, so you got to get good high school kids to do that, build relationships with them, and everything you can keep.
Well, I can tell you this, I don't think there's any doubt that you've got a bunch of good guys in this roster, and this, as far as the staff is concerned. Darren, based on what I've seen thus far, you haven't done anything wrong yet. Not one thing.
I'm sure we'll be able to come up with something really.
One quick final question. What about this trip to Puerto Rico? What kind of trip will that be?
Yeah, we're excited. We're going to end the summer taking a trip to Puerto Rico with the team, give us an opportunity to play 3 games, August 5th through the 12th. So if you can make it, come on down. It's more of a relaxing trip. So, but more importantly, it gives us 10 extra practice days throughout the summer, where we're going to be able to spend a little bit more time with a brand new group of guys, new coaching staff. Just allows us to slow things down kind of once a week. We spread it out over the course of the summer. It gives us some film time, all those extra things. So it's timing-wise, great opportunity for us in this first season.
Guys, we can't thank you enough for being here tonight, and thank you for coming to Indiana University.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.